You can introduce yourself first.
Sure. My name is Amelia. I work as the Director of Pedagogy at Eaton House, and I'm in charge of the training of the teachers. So I would like to share with you more about the training development as part of our quality assurance.
Okay. Is it okay if I ask a few questions?
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So we'll start with the philosophy. What's the training and development philosophy of the company?
In line with our vision to be a global community leaders in excellence in education, we believe that providing continual evaluation and improvement will be our ways of ensuring quality across our organization.
Okay. So now we're going to the systems and the structures. May I know what's the system of training used in your organization?
The system used in our organization
Is
is
it?
external and internal.
Oh, okay. Can you explain more?
Yeah. External will be provided by the external providers as based on the request by the individual staff. But of course, it has to meet the company's needs and beliefs as well. For the internal one will be provided by a team of the trainers, which actually will be looking at the um, different areas of needs as well as interests of the organization.
Oh, okay. I have a few questions. Like for external, right? So it's not chosen by the company itself, is it?
The
The
company
individuals can
will give some
choose what they
suggestions.
want
Yeah, the
to.
company will give some suggestions like a list to be considered by the staff, and then the staff would also try to match their interest, and based on their so-called um, co-evaluation, the company will make a decision. The organization will make a decision.
Oh, okay. So it's not like y'all bring in. Um,
A trainer.
yeah, it's not like that, is it?
No, usually we send the staff to for external training because I think for within the company itself we will arrange from time to time, but not for the different individualized training which is possible to be arranged outside the organization.
Oh, okay. And for the internal ones, right? It means that the superiors train the new employees. Is that right?
The previous, you mean the previous staff who has been trained?
Yeah, like just now you mentioned that internally you will get trainers. So the trainers are people within the company, right?
Yeah, we usually have a team who are trained to be trainers, so then they
Oh,
can uh, work together in terms of designing the training materials.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So, what are the training budgets for the company per employee level
But the range within 300 to 400
per
if we,
year?
yeah, in terms of monetary for a year time frame.
Oh,
But of
okay.
course, as I mentioned, it will be possible for a staff who is performing to request for further development.
Oh, okay. So the money budget is the same across all levels, is it?
Yeah, I would like to say it's
Or is it
generalized.
higher? Or is there a higher budget for higher ranking employees?
Yes, for the management level, usually will be higher.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And for the time allowed for
Time
these
allowed
trainings,
will be arranged based on the uh,
individual, is it?
pardon?
Is it different for each individual or?
Okay, if let's say within we kind of know already how uh, for every term we will make the arrangement, but if let's say for external and there's a need for the company to arrange for somebody to relieve the staff, we'll make the necessary arrangement.
Oh, okay. So for internal, what's the time budget?
For internal,
term.
usually we will create a provision of about a week, but of course will be segregated. It's not like
okay.
within a long week itself.
Okay, so that's a week per term, is it? Just now you mentioned.
No. I mean, a week is like just give you a rough estimation. It's a minimum. It's a minimum number of days in a year that our organization has to provide.
Okay. Can. So, may I know what type of training is used?
Okay. The type of training that is used is more to the, could be a variety. The first one could be a workshop.
Okay.
Because it's very important to understand more of the direct experience of the teachers. And then also we have more to the professional development, which will be conducted within specific schools. And then we also have like this orientation, which will require people from from all the EtonHouse schools to come together. As they are being new to the approach, they will be inducted for 3 days, for their first 3 days before they do teaching in school itself. So it's like a variety, but of course we will have more direct interaction.
Okay, if I were to give you 4 options, right? The first being required and regular, second is developmental and career, third is job or technical, and fourth is interpersonal and problem solving. Which one would you say is most suitable for the type of training used in
I think we will be focusing more into, one is problem solving, because there will be task oriented, which we more during the hands-on experiences to be solved together.
Also, it's group, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the interpersonal, I have to say yes, because we will usually base it according to the small groups, in order to have like lots of interaction and discussions.
Okay. Would you say another type would be relevant as well, or is it?
I would say, if you mentioned just now developmental, right?
Yeah, developmental and career.
Developmental and career, that's more to the external training.
Oh, so the internal one is more interpersonal and problem solving.
That's right.
Okay.
More to the small group discussions, as well as visit the classrooms and things like that.
Okay, can. Anything you want to add on, or?
No, not for now.
Now we're going on to needs analysis. How do you identify employee training needs?
So as the managerial level, the center supervisors are required to understand the different abilities of the teachers, but at the same time there will be some kind of conversation as well to understand the interests of the teachers. So it's a very open and reciprocal kind of conversation, which actually will see the match of the both sides. And then if budget allows, I think that's usually the process.
Okay. So this was for general staff or manager?
I would like to say it across all
levels.
Staff. Yeah.
Okay, so all staff will approach the supervisor, and then the supervisor will see what is needed for each individual, is it?
That's right.
Okay. Do you think that the training sessions allow employees to receive enough practice across all levels?
I would say The training sessions itself might be able to cover the basic, but of course, if the staff would like to kind of know more to the details, it's more to the daily on-the-job training itself.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So you'd say that the training does give
The
them
preliminary,
learn what's needed, but the practice is more from the day-to-day
correct.
jobs and activities.
The
Is
staff
it?
also has to be very proactive in terms of actually asking more or researching more as well.
Okay. So how do you keep your training methods and programs relevant to the business?
We kind of use research as part of our training practices. So when we see trends change or when we see there's a need to modify our training methods and programs, then we would do accordingly.
So how often do you do this review or modification?
Usually, we will conduct evaluation survey based on the frequency of the training itself. So immediately after the training, we will collect like feedback evaluation forms, and then we will study it again whether there's a need to change let's say for example, the length of time is not that efficient, then of course, or whether we need or require more time, then of course we will try to make this arrangement. Or if there's a need to bring somebody who is maybe more knowledgeable in terms of certain areas of study, of course we will try to arrange for that as well.
Okay. How does the training methods adopted help the employees?
For now, we think based on the evaluations that we have collected, based on the performance that they do as well, we see that it has a very close relevance, and then it actually helps the way that the staff perform better compared to the time when less training or less direct training given to them. Because previously, I think there is a system also or a method which asks the staff to try to understand more by themselves. They find it is harder, and then it affects their so-called their performance level.
Okay.
Because they keep on like not so sure or not certain about what they are doing.
Okay. Just now you mentioned that it's about a week a year, right? Although it's broken down. But how often would you say they are, roughly?
Basically, in every 4 months, we will try to have like a day, a full day arrangement of professional development. If we are talking about within the company or it's the internal training, yeah.
It's about once every 4 months, is it?
Yeah, 1 day in every 4 months. That one is a definite.
Okay, but for external one, it's not fixed, is it?
It's fixed. We usually share the schedule with them, so they kind of like if they are able to arrange and because we have to inform the parents as well that the school will be closed.
Oh, okay. For the external training?
No, for the internal training.
Yeah. So
because for the external training, then we can always just send the teachers as long as we can provide like a relief teacher to cover her shift.
But for the external training, it's not fixed for every teacher, right? It's dependent on the needs and what they ask for. Okay, sure.
That's right.
Okay. Do you think that all the training objectives are met during the training sessions for both internal and external?
Pardon? Could you repeat your question, please?
Do you think that all the training objectives are met during the training session?
It varies, and it depends again, because sometimes we encountered, like, if we are talking about internal, we studied the effectiveness is about 80%, because it will reflect on the so-called the retention rate. So if the more they are able to understand their work, and then they will be able to actually work along the training itself. But the thing is, if for the external one, we usually will have to hear from the company again, from the staff again, whether it is actually workable or not for them. Yeah.
Okay. Then, regarding development, how do you choose and plan new training programs, or how do you train people?
Okay. First, we will be extracting from our vision and mission how we want to see what we believe could be part of the practices of the staff. So if, let's say, we have like a very strong image of child, and then how we want our teachers could approach teaching in this manner, by seeing children competent, by seeing children active learners. So that's how we actually will help them to understand as much, and then that's how they will plan their so-called more of their teaching method in the classroom.
Oh, okay. What do you consider the key criteria for training to be effective?
Okay, I think first to listen or understand what the learners kind of need. So if, let's say, being new to the approach that we have in the school, then of course we have to understand how we should teach our starting point, because otherwise it might be too hard for them, or it might be too difficult for them, or too easy for them. So we kind of like having more to the simplified one for the ones who might have a better understanding, but we kind of having more to the easier one. Sorry, I have to repeat. I have to correct my sentence just now, my statement just now. First, I have to actually, we have to kind of understand which levels they are.
Okay.
So if their level is like they kind of understand the approach, then we will kind of challenge them more.
Oh, okay.
But if, let's say, we understand that this group of teachers they're quite unfamiliar to the approach that we adopt in the school, then we will kind of simplifying it.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's about to understand where they come from and how we pitch our training materials to be best able to help them understand.
Okay. But whether they already know or not, what do you think is something that's very important that they must know? For those that already know, what do you think should be
Re-emphasize?
Yeah.
Okay. First, of course, when we do our recruitment, we would select teachers who kind of already understand, or if even though they say they may not really understand about the teaching method that we have, but they have the passion to learn. That will be our so-called willingness to train and to kind of empower them to know more.
And what would you say those key criteria are?
The key criteria will is that still related to the training to be effective, or to the teachers itself?
Yeah, the training to be effective.
I mean, of course, the qualification have to, or during their training, they have to understand some of these approaches, but surprisingly, some of these.
What approaches?
Of course, our Eton House, we believe so much in inquiry-based learning.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to understand how to observe children, how to understand their planning organization to be based on children's interests. So those are the key criteria
Okay.
which they have to attain in their own training before they are employed by the organization.
Okay. So you're saying the teachers have to be more open-minded and more sensitive towards the children. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I think the willingness or the interest to listen to children's voices.
Okay. So it's not like the teacher is always right. They need to be able to actually listen to the children. Is that correct?
Yes, that's very right. Because
So in order for the training to be effective, you need teachers who are more open-minded and more...
precisely, I think that's the way that we try to not to segregate being a teacher and being a learner during the training itself, because both characters about open-mindedness as well as willingness to listen, that has to be employed by the teachers during the training as well as during the teaching practices.
Okay. Now we're going on to organizing. What is the duration of program for the different employee levels and the different type of trainings?
It differs, I have to say, because sometimes for the
Okay, let's start with the general staff, general teachers.
General teacher or general staff? General staff, like the office staff, usually it's very hands-on and it's very short and straightforward.
How long is it normally?
So let's say we are talking about the admin staff.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they have to learn a new accounting system, so they will be sent out to the, let's say, the bank or to the accounting office itself for a day, where they have to kind of learn it within the time frame.
Okay.
But let's say we are talking about the teaching level.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the external, I'm referring to the external program, they may have like 3 consecutive days or 2 different weekends, which it will require longer time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then for manager or whatever position,
Manager level usually will be conducted in a I have to say, sometimes we send them to overseas.
Oh, okay. Is principal the same as a manager in your organization? Oh, no.
That's right.
Okay. How are the training programs organized?
The training programs organized, are we just referring to the teaching staff?
All across all levels.
Okay, if across all levels, for the training programs for the admin staff will be very hands-on, so it will be more to the showing how. When let's say we will work with a software, and then we will make sure that the staff understand how the process works. But for the teaching staff, as I attach one of the materials that or the programs that we do is across 3 days.
Okay.
And then within the 3 days, actually there are like varieties of, let's say, we have like small group discussion, we have also like classroom observations, we have also more to the critiques, and then some also presentation. So I think it's quite different between the teaching staff and the non-teaching staff.
Okay. Going on to delivery, what kind of training delivery does the company use?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's both. I think internal and external.
So it's a combination training, is it? you say?
It's a combination training.
Okay.
But we seldom use like online training because I think we still prefer like more face to face and
Okay.
some of the direct role modeling.
Okay. Are there any orientations for new employees, or do they just
It's
jump straight into the job?
Yeah, it's ongoing. So what we have after the induction, there will be like a mentoring system in place, but that has to be conducted within the school itself by the so-called the supervisor or the center director or the center principal.
Okay. So is induction and orientation the same thing, or?
No, they're different. Orientation is more just to orientate the staff to the new environment, but induction is really to induct them to understand the philosophies and how the practice should be.
Okay.
So when you I attach the welcome session, it's more actually for the induction. We use this term because it's more sounds like
more welcoming.
Yeah, more welcoming.
Okay. Okay, this is the last point. It's about evaluation. What would you say has been the most difficult training situation that you've had to deal with, and what do you do?
Okay, I think if first, if the new staff is not when they are not really that familiar with the approach, and they are not open to it, it makes the whole process of training to be more challenging, I have to say. And what did I have to do, or what did I do?
Have you ever encountered a situation whereby like the employee wasn't willing to be trained?
Yeah, we encountered some of those situations. I think because I would like to say that the training method that we use is the teaching method that we use is kind of not easy because you really have to like be very much able to understand the situation instead of actually having some kind of fixed preparation, which in my opinion, it's so much easier. So staff needs to be very sensitive to and open about sensing how changes in the situation itself will be part of the whole process of teaching method.
Okay. Do you think that the time duration given for the training period is sufficient for every level?
For now, I would honestly say no, because especially if we have new staff who are not familiar, so therefore we kind of facilitate ongoing training within the school by the principal or by the center directors in collaboration with the training team.
But you still think that the 7 days a year is too short? Is that correct?
I would like to say yes.
Okay. What would you think is a sufficient period? Sufficient duration?
If I could say, maybe
or like how often? Sorry?
Yeah, instead of like a full day in one term, it could be like, of course, the more to me is the better, like once a month or once every 2 months.
Okay, once a month for what?
Like a full day training within every 2 months.
Okay, and how long will each session be? About
usually we will allocate like 8 hours.
No, as in how long would you prefer the session to be?
How long?
Yeah.
So if let's say we could have longer, like now what we have is about 8 hours, so maybe about 15 hours
in a day.
But no, not in a day, of course, like 2 consecutive days.
Okay. Got it. Have you ever come across any problems during the course of training conducted?
Yes, sir. We encountered problems like although we did like kind of like pre-planning, but during the course itself, sometimes either time is an issue or the interaction itself required more facilitation from us. But sometimes you could also encounter another group who is very proactive in trying to understand. That will change so much in terms of the challenges or the kind of the training itself, I have to say.
Okay. So you say the biggest problems would be time constraint and lack of facilitation, is it?
No. I would say that those are some of the challenges that we face.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
the
not,
biggest, if I have to say, is about changing the mindset.
the biggest problem would be like uncooperative trainees, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you get feedback about your programs?
We have like written feedback forms that we circulate immediately after the whole training sessions. So we would collect, we would provide like 10 minutes for them to kind of like reflect on the whole training and how they find it's useful, and they can choose whether they want to include their names or not. And
Okay.
yeah, as long as we can study their feedback.
What sort of feedback have you received about your programs?
Usually they would say that it's an eye-opener, and they would say that they require more training from here, or they would also like to say maybe more examples. But of course, as I've mentioned just now, is quite abstract, the teaching method that we have. So giving examples might not solve what.
It's more like hands-on. They only can solve it when they come to it.
Figure it out by themselves. They have to try it out by themselves, and they have to, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever received any complaints about your training sessions?
Not really. Maybe one or two, I have to say. First, there were like a few incidents when I think miscommunication was an issue. Then we end up with too many people in one small room, and no way we could like move around and things like that for both trainers as well as the
trainees.
The trainees, yeah.
Okay. So the negative feedback was regarding the lack of space, is it?
Yeah. One of the negative feedback, I have to say, yes.
Have you ever received any complaints about people saying that it's boring and not useful, or it's unplanned, or there's too many gaps in between the sessions?
I think what they do share with us is more constructive. So maybe the way they rephrase the language is like they didn't really understand, and they would like to have more training.
But so far, no one has like blatantly said it's boring and whatnot, is it?
No.
Okay. Okay, last question. Do you think that the training sessions conducted are useful?
Yes, of course. I do believe, and I do think so, because as I mentioned earlier on, we usually would like to study our retention rate. And usually when staff choose to stay with us, that means that they feel they are more confident, that they like, that they know what they do. Then when they perform better, that shows that actually this training session really helps them, so in terms of understanding.
Okay. So would you say you've seen a difference between staff before and after the training sessions, or?
Yes.
So they've become more proactive, or?
They would share mostly in their so-called evaluation feedback forms
that they've learned something.
Yeah, first they didn't really quite understand how this so-called teaching method. But after the 3 days training or the welcome session, they would be more able to understand. Although the so-called message afterwards is still to have further training to understand more to the details.
Okay. I know this is what they said, but have you seen like firsthand that they have improved?
Yes, in I couldn't say in all of them, but I would say for who teachers who really push themselves, we could see like within the first 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
it would be very visible that they have gained and they have actually on the right track.
After the training. Right.
Yes.
Okay. That will be it. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I would like to thank you for the opportunity to share about the training program that we have in our organization, and I hope this is useful for your project as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.